Warning. The following program contains explicit content, outrageous opinions, and untrained professionals. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft with your hosts, Berserker and Navox. This is Unshackled Fury.
It's Super Bowl Sunday, the crockpots are bubbling and the bets are flying. But it's our own big game that we're talking about here once again. Welcome to episode 84 of the Unshackled Fury podcast, your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. I'm your host, Berserker, and with me as always is the Hobbs to my Shaw. He is Navox. Welcome back again, sir.
I like the continuity there. The Fast and Furious continuity.
And that will make sense soon, I promise. But
that's right.
Also
Yeah.
settled that question as to who is what. Because I do think that was posed. But Nav, before we talk about anything else,
Sure.
I have got a rage topic this week that is so hot. We just have to get to it right out of the chute. There's
All right.
no delay. So we're going to hit
Okay.
it. Let's go.
Let's rage.
Recently, I have seen a comment online and a discussion about something in particular that applies to us that I think we need to discuss, even if just briefly. And this is about something that needs to change. Something that needs to change. And it's all of these amateur podcasts, these amateur WoW podcasts out here
Yep.
that always talk about what people did in the week or weeks prior to when they record their episodes.
Fucking amateur, bud.
Amateur as hell.
Yep.
It is an amateur move, and that word cannot be used enough to describe people who do this. So I saw this comment and I said, yeah, that's right. This needs to stop. This scourge. You know what? This scourge of podcasts that make me just go, next. I don't want to listen to that. I don't care about you
Nope.
as a human being.
Skip it.
I don't want to know what you're up to. I don't care. Give me a break. The unmitigated gall of people who give that kind of information on a WoW podcast. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because you know what a podcast is supposed to be? A podcast is supposed to be about news. Just news. In
That's
fact,
right.
you know what? Starting right now, we're changing everything. We're changing the format. We're changing everything we do. This is no longer just Unshackled Fury.
Oh, thank God.
This is Unshackled Fury Radio. Welcome to the new brand of Fury. Let us read today's news. Blizzard increasing anima from Mythic Plus dungeons and raids. According to Wowhead, Blizzard has announced they are increasing the amount of anima dropped from dungeons and raids. Nav, what do you think about this?
I think that is such a
Next!
smart move on there.
Thoughts on the recent tank damage tuning in Shadowlands Mythic Plus dungeons? According to Wowhead, earlier this week, Blizzard nerfed many large sources of tank damage in the dungeons. Nav, what do you think about this?
Buff Warriors.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. We have a sales drive for 6-month subs. If you purchase a 6-month Warcraft subscription now, you will get your own Lucky Yun mount. Now back to our show. Nav, I think we've really touched on something here. I think that this really is the way that our show needs to be from now on.
Absolutely.
All these noob shows need to get their shit together. You know, this is one of those times when maybe I just feel like I'm not getting enough attention, and I just need to just say some shit that, is it punching down? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really sure anymore. But, people need to stop this madness and just get on with the things that people care about, which is the news. So, with that aside, how have you been? And what have you been up to since the last time we were here?
Well, we've been raiding Castle Nathrion Heroic. We're at that point now where we get to Sire Denathrius in one night, and we get to get maybe we get a lot of pulls on him. So we raid from 8:15 to 11:15, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Tuesday is our rush to get to the last boss at this point on Heroic, and then we have from 10 o'clock to about 11:15 to work on him.
How was that fight on Heroic? Because that fight is it's a doozy up front.
Yeah. So on Heroic, there's on normal, on normal, I gotta tell you, I forget the mechanics on normal, but on Heroic, there are a couple things that happen. I don't know if you get the volleys on normal. Let us know how wrong I am on the show, because I haven't done normal. We did normal like once or twice. So we're moving on to Heroic.
I can tell you which part of this. Say it again.
So this is on phase 2.
Okay.
So on phase 1, it's not really you're
on the upper floor
race. Right. You're on the upper floor. You get him to 70%. He takes you down.
Right.
Then you are on the X cross section, and you're usually fighting him on one side, dragging him back and forth between mirrors.
Yes.
But there's a mechanic there that drops puddles on the floor that you have to get out of, or it ejects you off the side.
Oh no, that must be a Heroic only, because I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so that's a pain in the ass, because what happens is you get this volley, and I mean hopefully you're using weak ores, because otherwise I don't know how you would keep track of any of this stuff. So what happens is you get the pop-up that says you're about to drop a puddle. The problem is people pre-move, where it's just easier for you to just stop what you're doing and wait for the puddle to drop, because there's enough time after the fact. Just drop your puddle and then move, because there's some instances where you get 2 consecutive volleys of this stuff, and that's honestly the game changer. That and also you can't just blow the boss and the ads up, because it pushes the phase if you're not ready for a phase. I will say that this is a very interesting, it's an interesting fight where you just can't brute force it. There's a little bit of thought behind it. There's a little bit of
timing is very important.
It's interesting. And I think that this whole raid, I'm super excited for this whole raid. I was going through, it's really cool. There's something in it for everybody to excel at. Like for Huntsman, if you play an Arms Warrior or Fury Warrior or something like that, that is straight up your fight, because you have an ad next to the boss, and no matter what, you're gonna have something in execute range, and you can AoE execute.
Yeah,
stuff.
you're cleaving like a mother.
Great, exactly.
Yeah.
There's that one, and then there's the Kale Thos fight, which is another good warrior one. But there's just something in that raid for everybody to excel at, and they did a really good job of boss encounters, puzzles, even achievements. The achievements are fun to go through and get. We went through and did achievements last Sunday, and that was a lot of fun. Other than that, I've been trying to get my alts through the Maw, as tedious and boring as it is. I've managed to get 5 of my alts through.
God. For somebody who hates it, you're doing well.
It's like, because I log in and I'm like, okay, so I do my chores. I log in, I get my daily quest from, your Covenant. I go out, do that, come back, and then I'm like, all right, I'm bored, because I don't really have anything to do. So let me go get my alt and do a little bit more of the story. So I'll usually go from Stormwind to the Maw, and then I'm like, all right, I'm bored, and then I'll let that thing sit for a week, and then I'll come back later on and then get them through the Maw, and then they just sit at the entry point of Oribos, and then I have to take them through and do the intro stuff. But right now I've got an alt warrior that I'm working on, because I want to see the Venthyr side of things. Other than that, I mean, I could filibuster what I've done in WoW this week. You know, we could go the whole Noble Humans of Stormwind, a proud, tenacious race.
Yes.
The recent invasion of the demonic burning, you know, I could go whole, you know, but I digress. How about you, Zerker? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to since last week? God, how dare I answer such a question? But I'm gonna do my damnedest. I have been playing catch up. As we've discussed here and elsewhere, I've spent a lot of time out of Azeroth lately.
Yeah.
I've been down a couple 100 miles theoretically south of where I live now, since Night City is on the California coast in Northern California. So I've been spending a little time at a vacation somewhat nearby. But coming back in and really trying to focus in recent weeks on getting my ass in the right shape for raiding, in the sense that my gear is up, all my enchants are in line, like I'm using all the shit in raid I've got to use, because to be honest, I've been bad about it. I haven't been, you know, putting oil on my weapons, and I haven't been farming stuff, and I slipped, man. I fell behind. But
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks, really made a dedicated effort. Like, I got to get my legendary maxed out. I've got to get all my gear up as much as I can. I've got to do all these things. And so I'm actually in a good spot finally. As of
Awesome.
Thursday, I have a couple of weapons that are kind of getting close to raid level. I think I have a 194 and a 187. So I'm, into raid territory. Still haven't gotten a token drop from raid, which I think that's kind of everybody's experience right now. Come on, Blizz, get those drop rates up. But we've been making steady progress. We finally killed our first normal Denathrius kill, since our raid team always goes through normal, then goes through heroics. So now we're working through heroics, and already, thank you. And we're already banging away on several there. So that I think has been good, steady progress for our team, which to me is one sign of a good raid, is that we don't get hung up too long on any one specific spot. We kind of got hung up a little bit in the middle. That council fight was kind of a bitch, but figured out the dance, moved our way through, got to Denathrius. I mean, we one-shot the stone generals, which was funny, because you look at that on paper and you're like, wow, that's kind of a complicated fight. There's a lot of shit happening, and bosses switching in and out, and you gotta run something out here and drop a rubble pile of shit over here, and walked right in, killed it. So that was good.
Good deal.
Yeah, Denathrius, that first phase, you really got to figure out who's taking what stacks and moving people around, and it took us a little bit to get that first phase, but once we got that first phase, we made steady progress, and it did not take us long to get through that. So I was really happy with the team's progress, and that raid, you're right, it's a great raid. The environment is cool.
Yeah,
it has just that fun element, if you want to think of it that way, where it has a personality, which it's driven from Sire Denathrius and this
horny sword.
What's that?
The horny sword. She's thirsty. Ramonia.
She is thirsty. Gotta watch out for them thirsty swords. It's just this effete, aristocratic, arrogant asshole vibe. It's so good. They just so nailed it, and it's fun to go through that. So we've made that progress. I did finally see the video regarding Sylvanas, and we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So it was only mildly spoiled, as we've discussed before, but I did finally see it. So I think I'm all caught up on the storyline. So we are going to talk about some of that stuff today.
Awesome.
We also, you and I, had an appearance on Rolling Restart, one of the shows on Warcraft Radio. Our buddy Ro invited us on there. So we recorded that show yesterday, today being Sunday, yesterday being Saturday. And our show will be out Monday, and that show should drop Tuesday. So if you're listening in order, you'll hear our show before his show, or you may hear his show and then go, who were those two nudniks that he was talking to? And then you'll end up listening to this. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see which order people go in. But if you are just joining us for the first time and you've made it this far into the show and you're wondering what in the hell this show is, well, welcome. It's nice to have you. We're two warriors who talk about Warcraft, and it's not always warrior stuff. Sometimes it is very warrior centric, but we just talk about anything and everything. We're like a combo of the, I don't know, CNN and TMZ of the Warcraft world. So.
Hey, I can give you a warrior tip on Sire Denathrius. Here's a warrior tip for everybody who plays warriors. And we discovered this the other night. Knockback abilities are negated by Bladestorm. So if there's a knockback ability, pop your Bladestorm, you don't get knocked back.
There you go. Helps with the ads too.
When you hear the raid leader go, knockback incoming, just hit your Bladestorm, you won't get knocked back.
Hot tip.
There you go.
From the I can't even believe you're still arms. It's unbelievable.
Dude, it's awesome. It hits so hard.
Dude, Fury is still rolling good right now.
I can't do it because I don't have another weapon, but I love arms so much. It hits like a truck and it cleaves all the time. I love it. It's beastly. It's like you're Conan the Barbarian. It's great. I love it.
I don't even know who you are anymore. Yeah, so that's the gist of it. That's what I've been up to since last we were here. But we've got a bunch of great news to talk about on this episode. Moving on, so why don't we go ahead and jump into that? And first up, we're going to be talking about BlizzConline.
Yay!
So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which we're all still dealing with or managing in one respect or another, BlizzCon was canceled last year. And we were gifted that information with the news that BlizzConline would be happening sometime in the spring of 2021. Eventually they told us, okay, it's going to be in February 19th and 20th, and that was pretty much all we heard for some time. Well, thankfully, last week we finally got some details on what to expect, when to be there, where to go, all the good stuff. So, BlizzConline, which I understand there's some controversy over this name. Some people really hate it.
Really?
Which, I don't know. It seems to flow fine for me. So
it's the WoW community. So, I mean, it's got to be controversial. If it wasn't, I mean, it's the WoW community. It's like, Jesus.
I don't know what else. I mean, I guess you could just call it BlizzCon and then it's just online and you make no differentiation. But I think BlizzConline it's a, little punny name. It's fine.
I hate it so much. Oh, my God.
There come the forums again. Shit. So yes, BlizzConline will be available not just in one place, but several. We'll have it on BlizzCon.com. It'll also be on YouTube and Twitch. It's going to be free, which can't really complain about that. I mean,
nope, no.
Whatever you're getting, at least it's free, so you can enjoy that. There will be 6 different channels that you'll be able to follow during the events on both days, so that's kind of cool. I assume, or seem to understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, that each channel will be dedicated like to a specific franchise or to an activity. So I assume there's going to be, like a Warcraft channel and an Overwatch channel and a Diablo channel and what have you. So you'll be able to mix and match, and all that stuff will be uploaded, so you'll be able to go back and watch it, because it is a Friday and Saturday event, as it's always been. So I know Friday can be a little bit tougher for a lot of folks. It'll start at 2 p.m. Pacific on Friday the 19th. So you still may be at the end of your workday. You may be in the middle of your workday, so you may not be able to get to it on a regular Friday. So it will be available on those online outlets later, so you don't have to worry too much about, oh shit, I missed it.
Yeah.
So it'll be a 2 p.m. start time on that Friday. It'll be a noon Pacific start time on that Saturday. So it's not quite the 2 full days of stuff that we've come accustomed to, let's say. But we will have essentially pre-produced segments, and it'll run concurrently. So, if you're looking at, I don't know, 6 hours per stream of content, or give or take, that's a pretty healthy amount of stuff to watch, I think.
Yeah.
I will say, one of the great things about every BlizzCon, and this is the only thing about BlizzCon that really gets my wife interested in this at all, is the human element to BlizzCon. Because whether it's the competitions, whether it's the Q&A by far, it's that human element of you just don't know what's going to happen with a live crowd and an untrained audience. You just don't know. Because remember when they had that whole thing where that guy got up there and was talking
shitting
about
on Diablo.
Huh?
Was he shitting on Diablo?
Well, there was some of that, but there was the guy who I believe was talking about human rights in China, and there was some stuff going on.
That's right. Yes.
And
yes.
Taliesin handled that beautifully.
Yes,
right?
he did.
He was able to have a little bit of repertoire, repartee, whatever you want to call it, with this person, and it went smoothly. But it's those kinds of human elements that I always enjoy the most, and I'm gonna miss that, I will say. So, nevertheless, we will have pre-produced content, which means they know full in advance everything that's gonna be shown and what's gonna happen. So it gives them some time to plan that out and dole that out to us in little tidbits, and as we get up to that point, including in the announced video, I think we got a sneak peek of our Treebeard mount.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I need to go back and look at that.
Yep.
I might have missed that.
Yep. If you go...
Oh, crap. That's a surprise.
If you go onto the, the BlizzCon website, there is a pre-show welcome video. It's not very long. It's only a couple minutes. But in there, if you watch it, there's a quick shot of somebody working on that mount. At least it looks like. And so you kind of get a little idea what might be coming. So,
Awesome.
pretty cool. And I don't think I've seen anything specific like, hey, you watched it, we're going to give you a code. I don't know if they can do anything like that. They do have some 30th anniversary bundles that they're selling. It's because this year is the 30th anniversary of Blizzard being a company.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all kinds of stuff that they're giving away as part of these collections. There's like an updated, the best way I can think of is like an updated polar bear mount. That was one of the ones.
Yeah,
from,
with
like,
spikes coming out of the back. I'm sorry, looks like little ice shards coming out of it or something. I don't know. To me, it looks weird. But anyway, go ahead.
It looks like it might be very dangerous to ride.
Yeah. Yeah. OSHA's not involved with this bear mount.
No,
Oh,
no.
yeah.
But there is what looks to be a nether whelp pet,
Yeah.
which seems to indicate something. There is a Rainer. And this is probably what's going to get me to buy one of these bundles. There's like a Rainer skin for Overwatch that you can put over Reinhardt, and it looks like Jim Raynor from StarCraft.
Oh,
which
okay.
is pretty sweet. So if you go through there's a whole bunch of those. I'm probably gonna pick one of them up, maybe the middle tier one, because there's 3 different ones at 3 different prices. I don't know that the super expensive one is worth it for me. I think it's like $60.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you think you're gonna pick any of these up?
You know, at first when I looked at this, I saw the red bike and I was like, man, now I love mounts. Like if there was the bear mount just didn't do it for me. Like that's so essentially to answer your question, no. And it's strictly because I go for the mounts whenever I look at this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And usually now I will say this, if I had to pay for it to watch BlizzCon, I'd have paid for it to watch BlizzCon. But since BlizzCon is free, I'm probably not going to pick these up because the bear, look, the mount looks great. I'm not going to ride it. I'm an Alliance, and just strictly because I'm an Alliance guy, I have my Alliance chopper. my Alliance Griffin with armor on it.
Yeah.
All the Alliance stuff. It looks like the Alliance threw up on me in game. I'm still wearing my Alliance Elite gear, so that's
You're repping
that's
the brand, bro.
It's the only reason why I'm not. Now, if they threw that red bike in, if they're like, hey, you know what, this doesn't fit the Warcraft universe, but fuck it, here you go. I would have picked it up in a heartbeat. If that was like, the Akira looking red bike that they have there, kind of, it's like, I like that, yeah. But no, I don't think so.
Yeah, there. To be fair, there's a lot of stuff they're giving away. Like if you look at all the franchises involved, because there's 3 packs.
Yeah.
One is $20, one is $40, one is $60. And you'll have to look and see, there's a whole chart where they break it down online. If you go on the BattleNet new shop website, they have a celebration collection, they call it, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. There's packs of cards for Hearthstone, there's portraits and pets for Diablo, there's this Moontouch Netherwelt pet for Warcraft. The super big one, the Epic Pack, also comes with 30 days of game time, a couple of Hearthstone cards, some Overwatch loot boxes, and a Diablo 3 transmog set. If that's worth $20 to you, go for it. But for me, I don't know. I think having the Rainer skin in Overwatch, which I don't really play a lot of Overwatch, but I'm just a sucker for stuff like that. Plus the extra mounts and a coupon for 15% off at the Blizzard Gear store, because I'm always buying random shit from that store. So, and getting in trouble because they can't ship it to my house, right? But we'll figure something out. And speaking of, they have announced there's going to be a really special item being sold as part of the BlizzCon line gear store extravaganza, which they always have. There's always special BlizzCon line stuff that happens every year, and they put it on sale at a certain time. And if there's anything you like, you better rush and get it, because they do typically sell out of stuff pretty quick. They are going to be selling, and I can't believe they're finally doing this, it is a life-size replica of the Helm of Domination.
Oh, wow.
Like, for real. Which
that'll make Teams and Zooms calls interesting.
So I'm looking at the dimensions of this thing. It's like 15 and a half inches tall. So I mean, it's big. Like, it's big. Now it says it's only like 6 inches wide, which I got a fat head, so I'm not sure if that's like the front part or like if that fits like over the like I don't know if I could actually wear that. Here, Nav's gonna measure his face here. Let's see.
Oh no, that's 6. No way. That's tight. That's tight. That's yeah. Actually,
maybe.
You know what? It may just fit so where it gets stuck on your head. I mean, that's what it's meant to do to begin with.
That's true. That's true. It takes a lot of evil, dark magic to peel that shit off.
That's right.
So yeah, we got the scoop on this. They announced it, and then in a Wowhead article, they posted a whole bunch of photos and the price. It's gonna be about $300. So, if
that's not bad for that, for something like that, that's not a bad price considering it's a full size replica.
When they put out the replica Frostmournes 10, 12 years ago, whenever that was, it took a lot of willpower for me not to make a very stupid splurge and purchase one of those things. I still don't have
one of those.
What's that?
You didn't get one of those swords? I kind of figured.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. Well, we had new baby at the time, I think.
No. I didn't get one either.
It seems like something I should have.
Shaming you.
No. It seems very much like something I should have, hanging behind me on the wall. Trust me. Every once in a while I look at eBay and I'm like, is somebody like got a fire sale going on and need to unload one of these things? It's one of the stupid collector's items I wish I'd gotten a million years ago. This one, I don't know. Because I would love to have one. Don't get me wrong. Because if anything, every time I see one of these Blizzard folks get their 20th anniversary helms, for when they've worked there for 20 years, I always get very jealous. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I had something cool like that. I have an Optimus Prime helmet, but it's just not the same. I can wear that around.
Oh
the house.
wow. Okay.
But yeah, I'll have to show that to you later.
Walking around in a bathrobe with a coffee mug.
That's
Optimus
right.
Prime.
Our number one listener, Rommel, gave that to me many, many years ago, and I still have it, and it still works, and it's amazing. So I'm very lucky to have that. But I digress. A lot of stuff going on with BlizzCon Online in terms of potential news, right? We feel like there is a bubble that's about to pop because there's been a dearth of information. We don't know anything about 9.1. We don't know anything about these other franchises. We're hungry for information right now, and I don't think it's because there isn't anything to share. It's just because they've probably been saving it for this moment. So we're 2 weeks away as this show is being recorded, right? So the next time you hear from us after this episode will be right after BlizzCon Online. So we'll be fresh with all the hot news and gossip and breakdown, and God only knows what else is going to happen. So thinking about BlizzCon Online, so like a typical BlizzCon that we would see just in a different, mildly different format. What do you think we're going to see? Let's start specifically with Warcraft. World of Warcraft, or the Warcraft franchise. What do you think we're going to see this year?
Well, we're definitely going to get we'll get a cinematic of the next, patch that's coming out. We'll get that cinematic, and then we'll get the after the cinematic, they'll do the standard, where they do the camera overlay of the zones, where they're just like, and then they put the text like, "Hey, 16 new classes." We're gonna delete all the rest of the classes. Everybody becomes warriors, and they put it in Flash and stuff like that. And but other than, I think we're going to get the next zones that we'll get to go into. I think they will announce flying at this point. I think we'll get to fly. I think they'll put that in there because we just went through and did the achievement in Nathria is a bat mount with armor on it that flies. So I imagine we'll get the flying announcement there. We'll get more story. We'll probably see more NPCs that we want to see because there's a lot of, and we'll get to see what Tyranda's been up to. We don't know what Tyranda's been up to.
That's right.
She yeeted out when we were, in Ice Crown, and she's like, boom, I got this. I'm taking care of this. And okay, where did she go? So I think we're going to see, the continuation of that story and also what Sylvanas has in store for Anduin and what the Jailer has in store for us, because I right now we're the best. We are the hide and seek champions right now. If you go off of looking at the cinematics that they've given us so far, I mean, we're just hiding behind some stairs there. Well, the two main powerful endgame people are sitting right there. We're just gonna sit right here and hide. It's like, okay.
Yeah, how powerful are you if we're standing like right behind you and listening in on these conversations? Like, come on, like we truly are just the great. Like, we are the most powerful. We have to be.
That's right, exactly. Yep. But so I think that's what we have in store for WoW, at least.
Do you think we'll get as far as a 9.2 or a 9.3 announcement? Like a hint at what those might entail.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
why not? I mean, they were we got to see a lot of Shadowlands at the last BlizzCon when they were when we watched the developers still, designing it live in front of us.
That's right.
So that was really cool. So I would like to see more of that too. I would love, I hope some of the panels, they still go into the art and the detail of, the game creation and things like that. I find that all fascinating.
Oh yeah.
I'd also, I know it sounds boring to a lot of people. I would love to see the server infrastructure of what it takes to run WoW at this point, because I know it's a lot of virtualization. I know, I'd love to just see all that without divulging too much of how it's made. Don't give away trade secrets and stuff. Just be like, hey, look, here's our data center. This is how it runs. This is, here's your shard and stuff like that. But anywho,
they've been notoriously secretive about all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at the potential timeline, like in the real world versus also the Azerothian world, I don't know that we're gonna have a BlizzCon until fall of 22. Like, I don't know that this might be the last time that we hear from them in this fashion for a long time.
Especially if this is successful, though. If this is successful, we'll probably get something like this in November again, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. That is possible. It could take the place of it in the fall to give us that bump, but I don't know that we'll see anything until fall of 22. So that's kind of where I'm at. So with that in mind, I think they're going to show us a pretty long road for what's in store for the rest of Shadowlands. I think we're going to start to see where this map takes us in terms of our next challenges, overcoming one, kind of feeding into the next, and perhaps just a little puff of something about what may lie at the end with either the jailer or somebody else or something else or someplace else, because they have hinted like Argus to us in the past. And we did see the little fishy N'Zoth hint at the end of a BlizzCon panel years ago when we were, well over a year away from actually seeing Ny'alotha. So I do think that we're going to start to see where those long-term plans are, because I also think come around fall of 22, we're also looking at it's time for a new expansion. So there probably will be something between now and then, a Gamescom. Maybe they do the BlizzCon line thing again. There will be some other something to announce that. But looking at the long game, I think we're going to get a lot of information. I don't think it's just going to be like, here's 9.1 and we don't hear anything else. I think we're going to hear more than that. Now, I could be totally wrong, and by the time you listen to this, maybe it's after the fact, and you're like, Berserker, you don't know shit. And generally, you are correct. I don't. But I would be surprised if we didn't see that long of a road, and also to see who also, to your point, is coming into the fold, because we've now had a lot of time with the characters that we've talked to and spent time with. Who else is out there? We know there's more people out there. We know there's more characters out there. There's more bombs to drop. So where are we? Looking at the cinematics, I agree. I think we're going to get a big one. I think we're going to get one of those fully realized, beautiful, fully rendered CGI ones. And it's going to be something crazy. I made this bold prediction over on Rolling Restart, so I'll make the same one here, is that I would hope that it would be something like Bolvar and Uther going into the maw to find Arthas or something like that, because damn it, I'm going to live and die by shit like this. But we'll see something. It'll be cool. And hopefully it'll be an extenuation of, or an extension of the story that we've been seeing directly with Sylvanas and Anduin, something in that vein, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But hopefully we'll see, one of those big CGI cinematics we can watch over and over. Thinking about other games, 'cause this is, we do touch Blizzard general stuff. Do you think there are going to be any big announcements for the other Blizzard franchises?
I think we're going to get a Diablo remastered, because we had a StarCraft remastered, right? And they just redid the launcher. And I think they want to fill that out with as many Blizzard games as possible. I think we're going to get a Diablo original remastered.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Because there are whispers about a D2 remake or a remaster or something. You think they'll go back to the original?
Yeah, I'd go back to the original, or D2. 1 and 2 are fine. Diablo, for me, the original Diablo, it was amazing. That game was great. It was the right amount. I don't know how to explain it. It was the right amount of we talked about it on Rose podcast. It was the right amount of gore and like the hellscape, and it was just, I don't know, it was a darker game, I guess, than Diablo 2 or Diablo 3. I guess, I don't know. To me, it was, and the music, it just the whole environment, the atmosphere, it was a great. I love that game. That game was awesome. I still listen to the soundtrack. Whenever I'm out questing and WoW and stuff, I'll pop it on. So
it's always a sign of a good game. Any other franchises, or are you sticking the flag in Diablo?
That's it for Diablo, because I don't, as much as I'd love to see everybody who loves their titles, I'd love to see something for everybody. I just don't, I don't see it, I don't know. I don't see it being put back out there again. I would love, and this is just a silly little game that I think there's a handful of people, including me, that would like. I would love to see some sort of silly kart racer game with all the Blizzard characters, like like Mario Kart, but with all the all the Blizzard characters. Some sort of racer that would be fun. That
there you go.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of a different take on Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Yeah, it's I think gonna be a disappointing year for a good handful of franchises that are looking to get a boost, because from all indications, and I don't know why anybody would think any differently, we're not going to get Overwatch 2 this year. We're not going to get Diablo 4 this year. I for some reason, people thought we were going to get them this year, and this is Blizzard, man. We're ways away from getting any of that stuff. So I think we might get some updates, but we're not going to get release dates. They may say like 22, but it's not happening this year. There's no way. So we have been given indications of that. We know certain franchises just aren't really going anywhere. I expect something for Hearthstone, probably another expansion or another something, because damn, Hearthstone's just pumping it out.
Yeah, it's very popular.
Like to give them credit, and I don't touch it really hardly at all, but they're coming up big. They're making money. They're keeping it interesting. They have new expansions coming out pretty much on the regular. So I do expect to see something for that, along with our Warcraft stuff. You touched on sort of the classic Blizzard games and what might be brought up, and this is another topic of conversation related to WoW. Hinted at also with the Netherwelt pet, are we going to get the announcement of a Burning Crusade classic?
That would be, I guess, you know what? For the classic crowd, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they get it, because Burning Crusade, I have a lot of fond memories of that, because that was our first expansion for Warcraft, and it was amazing. So
that's when I came in.
I hope that they put that out there. I also, I know. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I think that's a good indication that they're going to announce something like that, and it's. And for us to go, it's not that hard for them to do it. It really isn't. They have that code. That's stuff that they have that they could just be like, yeah, let's just put it on the classic server and go. So
I'm very on the fence about a TBC comeback, because I have a lot of fond memories, but there are things that stuck with me, that have stuck with me since I first leveled through the game, that I have a hard time letting go. Like, I've never liked dungeons. I don't like running them. I don't like grouping for them. I don't like having to find groups for them.
Yeah.
It's a completely irrational dislike of them, but a lot of it is born out of the fact that when I was leveling and in the Burning Crusade, being a DPS warrior, nobody wanted you, because you didn't have CC, and there might have been one open DPS spot, but it was always taken by a rogue or a hunter or somebody else. And I would spend fucking hours sitting in Shatrath trying to find a group, and it sucked.
Yep, I understand. Yep.
So some of those scars are still around.
Still deep. Yep.
I mean, we'll see what it's like, but there does seem to be a good indication that is coming. On that note, where do they stop with the sort of classic server. I mean, are we just gonna have just every expansion gets its own, like, here's what it was back then? Because coming up next would be Wrath of the Lich King, and that might get me interested in something, because that was and still is my favorite expansion of all time. Now, that's with rose-colored glasses, looking in the past, and maybe if I fired it up now, I'd be like, ooh, damn, there's a lot of stuff here I don't like. But where do we stop that train? Is there a point at which we go, nah, this stuff isn't classic, or is everything classic?
I think everything's classic, but I think, Wrath is where the game saw the biggest changes. That's where the quality of life things started to happen. The group finders and things like that. I remember that. I remember when it was like, hey, I want to queue for this dungeon, and oh, cool, we're all in the same dungeon, we're all ported there automatically, So I think that's where it would stop, if anything, for the classic thing, because then Blizzard could just go, we that's it. Everything else is quality of life. Just jump in and play regular WoW at that point. It's but I could see that, also going over to what I mentioned on the show we did earlier. I have a strong feeling that we're going to get console ports of these games. I think they're trying to make these games controls simple enough so that you can hop in and play it on the newer consoles. Like you could probably play Warcraft right now on, if it would run, I guarantee it'd run on an Xbox 360 or something, because I mean that's just a pretty powerful PC. But the PS5 and the Xbox, the new Xbox that's coming out, and even the Nintendo, I imagine that they could probably put something together for a Warcraft type game that could interact with the PC players. You don't have the chat, I don't think, unless they do a pop-up keyboard, but the potential's there. They put all the the controller commands in game already, so it's all there. But yeah.
Do you think that we will get any brand new franchises announced this year?
That would be something. I would be, that would be something. If we got hit with a game that we weren't expecting, that I think that would get the fire going again for Activision and Blizzard, because right now we're just like, oh, Activision bought Blizzard and that's it. The building's on fire. Everybody's jumping ships. Everybody's jumping ship. I go out there on Twitter and people are like, it's my last day at Blizzard, so the game, it's all dying.
There has been some of that.
So I would be interested to see that. I know that Activision Blizzard is also buying up these smaller game companies that have put out some quality games too. So I don't know. We'll see. It's
always an exciting time for us, because you never really know what they're going to keep close to the vest. I know for years we've wondered if like Corey Stockton or one of these other Warcraft guys has been working on like a Pokemon Go type game for like pet battles or something like that. Is it that sort of scale of a game? Because they keep talking about mobile titles. Are we going to get some kind of AR pet battle game, or are we going to get something totally new and different that we've never heard of before? Hard to say. But they are very insistent that there are titles in the works. So it's not continuation of titles, it's new titles. So I feel like they got to give us something. There's got to be one new thing. One brand new thing. So I'm going to say this. One brand new thing is coming. Or I'm totally wrong and it's the same.
Okay.
Industry. So we'll see. As for the days of the 19th and the 20th, those 2 days, that Friday, that Saturday, do you have any plans for watching it live?
That'll be that's 5 p.m. Friday.
Yeah.
I'll probably just put it on, just see what's going on, make some dinner, sit there and watch it. I don't really have plans. I don't have plans for it because I could watch it in post too, so it's not like I like to watch the intro. I love to watch the opening intro of BlizzCon, so I will definitely be there live for that. On Saturday, I'm probably going to avoid Twitter and avoid all social media and just watch it when I can watch it. I don't want to be surprised by it. I want to be surprised when I'm surprised. I don't want to go out there to Twitter and be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they did that," but yeah, no, I don't have any. I don't have any watch parties planned. I don't have any plans for that. So it's just I will watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm glad it's at. I gotta say, I'm glad it's at 5 and not earlier. Usually they launch these things and I'm sitting at work going, I hope this isn't picked up on our traffic.
Yeah, it's like 11 a.m. on a Friday.
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. and you're just like, I'm gonna eat lunch at my desk and.
Yeah, I always take that Friday off. I typically take that Thursday off before too because I gotta like meal prep, get ready for all the big meal business going on. So I'm gonna try to preserve as much of that as I can. I am gonna take that Friday off because I don't want anything interfering that Friday afternoon. Because you know how it is.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, it's Friday afternoon. Surely nothing is going to happen. I can just ride out the rest of this day. That's when the shit happens. That's when the fire starts. Yeah. So not gonna even take that risk. So I'm taking that Friday off, and we will be smoking some ribs. I don't know if it'll be that Friday or Saturday, but one of those days we'll be smoking some meat. So I'm gonna try to preserve as much of that feeling as I can, and I'm not gonna be able to have the usual hoedown at the Casa de Berserker, but we'll keep it alive in spirit. So try to watch as much of it live as I can. So moving on, I did mention earlier that we downed Denathrius on our raid team, and so I was finally privy to the video, the cinematic, which again, just raising the bar. Every time I see one of these cinematics, they get smoother, they look better, they're more important. They're so good, and we gush about them all the time, but they really are just every time elevating their craft. With credit to Terran Gregory and that team over there. Sylvanas, their plan, the jailer, what the fuck is going on over there? Like we have been in the dark for years. We think we know what a plan is. We don't really know what the plan is. We burned down Teldrassil. We had Mok'Gara in front of Orgrimmar. There's shattering of helms. There's all kinds of stuff. We're in the Maw. We're in Torghast. What is happening? Where is all this going? That's the question that we've been asking ourselves literally for years. So finally, starting to see something where Anduin has been taken prisoner. We freed all these other faction leaders that got captured. Anduin's the only one that's left. There's something about Anduin.
Yes.
That is the focus for the jailer and for Sylvanas. Like, for some reason, he is the guy. Like, they want him for some seemingly nefarious purpose because they've been talking about crafting a weapon and how he plays a part into that. So we finally see the cinematic. The jailer and Sylvanas, they're having a little chat. You see some guy like pounding away on something in there. Clearly he's like making a weapon or doing a thing at an anvil. None of that obviously can be good. Sylvanas and the jailer talk about, okay, well, Denathrius, he's defeated or whatever. Jailer doesn't seem that concerned. Oh, Denathrius, well, every soul serves its purpose. Okay, well, all right. He reaches through a little blue rune portal, pulls out this blue crystal while they're talking. Like, where is he reaching? What is that? What is that? What is that crystal? What's happening here? Like, they just casually just reaching into another dimension or something and pulling out shit. Like, okay, all right. No idea what that is. Hands it to this guy wailing away on whatever he's wailing on there. And talking about forging this next weapon. Anduin not being ready. Jailer telling Sylvanas, what must be done. So she goes in and they have a little tete-a-tete. Two of them trying to figure each other out. Anduin's kind of, Anduin's still got some fight in him, and he's poking back and he's trying to figure out, okay, well, she's giving him an ultimatum. She gives him this ultimatum. It says, you essentially have to join our cause or you will be forced. You will be forced to join our cause.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really know specifically what that means. We think generally, correct me if I'm wrong, it has something to do with breaking the cycle of death. We talked about choice. Choice is a big thing here. Well, Sylvanas, she wasn't given a choice to be turned into a Banshee. That's something that Arthas did to her. So with Anduin, he seems to pick up on this is about choice. This is a big thing for Sylvanas. This is still that piece of her live side, let's say, the Ranger General side that's still within her, that's fighting over, like, do I coerce this champion of the light into doing whatever it is that we need him to do, or do we want to try to convince him so he does it willingly, which would be much easier. And in a moment where she holds up this newly forged weapon to his neck, essentially, and tells him that, this is what's going on. If I'm not mistaken, that is a corrupted Charlemagne.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I thought. Yes, absolutely.
I haven't seen anybody talk about this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just missing the chatter. But they very clearly took Charlemagne and turned it into a Mournblade.
Yes.
So is it Shalamorn?
Maybe.
Is that what it is now? Because that's some shit.
Yeah.
And it explains why we couldn't have it as a legendary or an artifact back in Legion, because they needed it.
Right.
Perhaps
right.
all these years later for something more sinister. That to me is a very interesting turn, because I didn't even think about where Charlemagne was. I just was like, oh, they've taken him prisoner and they locked it in a closet. It seems that they've actually corrupted the weapon, like what happened with the Ashbringer. I don't know if that's canonical anymore, or they purified that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me is a big deal in signifying their ability to use whatever death power that they have to overcome what I think was infused in that blade, which was light power. Because when Anduin picked it back up, it was orange with Varian, now it was yellow with Anduin. The fact that he represents the light and is infused with the light seemed to be of interest to the jailer when they were trying to capture them at the portal to Oribos in that little cinematic. So taking all of this into account, thinking about this story and this choice, where do you think we're going to go? Do you think Sylvanas is going to force him into some kind of servitude? Do you think this is part of... Are we going to try to rescue him as part of the next raid like we did with Grom at Hellfire Citadel? Where do you think this is taking us?
I don't really know. I don't think, and he doesn't really need Anduin. I mean, I know he needs Anduin for the means to the end, but...
Which is what?
I think he needs us more than he needs Anduin. And what I think is going to happen... I'm wondering if the game's going to flip the script onto us. And, since we can go freely back and forth between the Maw and Oribos, the jailer needs us to be able to get out of that area. So I'm wondering, they put that choice in the game back in Battle for Azeroth for the Horde.
Yes.
And it didn't really make it wasn't a... It just gave them a different story. It wasn't a make or break. It didn't matter one way or another. It was just do you support Sylvanas or do you support blah, blah, blah. It didn't make... I'm wondering if we're getting something like that put in the game where, hey, do you sacrifice yourself for this, blah, blah, blah. And then, something else happens to you in the game. The Maw was something, I think the Maw was something designed entirely different. And the Arbiter, who's still asleep, is, I think the Arbiter was supposed to take the jailer's spot, but the jailer is trapped in that realm, and I think the jailer needs us to escape, and he's going to use the Anduin as leverage to get us to do whatever he needs to happen, because it's, hey, Anduin's a good guy, we want to save Anduin, this, that, and the other. But I think something with us, since we're the protagonists, we're the heroes of the game. I think we're not getting Anduin the boss fight. That's to me, that's silly. It doesn't make sense.
What if it was both?
What do you mean?
Think about the Bastion cinematic with Uther.
Yeah.
A character very strong with the light. like Anduin.
Yep.
Frostmourne splits his soul, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What if something similar happens to Anduin? Where there's a death version or a soul-ripped version, and there's a light version. And somehow, like his father, he's been split in two. And we have to maybe fight the dark side to reunite them.
I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. And also there's, again, the... I know it's not... I know it's kind of... It's not canon, but it is sort of canon. The whole story of Old Man Anduin and Velen. Like, we haven't seen Velen and the light, and we also haven't seen Uther's light side.
Yep.
Anything like that. So, I don't know. Part of me feels that the conduit that goes between Oribos and the Maw is a weapon itself. It's like... and I keep equating it to like Halo. What Halo was a weapon. That big circle was it was a weapon in itself, where it would, a beam of light shoot out of it. I'm wondering if like the thing that you're jumping down into is some sort of, God forgive me for saying this, but like a space laser.
Boy.
But I don't know. I am interested to see where we're going with this, because right now he's pulling Infinity Stones out, and I don't know if he's going to form a gauntlet at some point with this stuff and snap his fingers or something. I don't know where we're going with this stuff, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, we're starting to see the edges of the puzzle, but it's still that meat in the middle that we're not quite coming into focus. But
the nice thing is it keeps us all guessing. It's fun to see the theory crafters out there on Reddit. It's fun to see, what everybody comes up with their ideas, and it's a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Keep people engaged with the game. So
yeah, and because I just can't let go of that soul split thing, and even when you go through the Kyrian Covenant and you get all the way through and you break Uther, spoiler alert here. Uther, who sides with the Forsworn, who you fight with through that whole Covenant campaign, he ends up breaking away, right? And so we reclaim him, but he's still wounded and he's still kind of fucked up.
Pouty.
And what's that?
He's pouty.
A little bit.
Hanging out at, hanging out, kneeling at one of the Kyrian sanctuaries.
Yeah,
what they call it.
He's out at one of the shrines, like hanging out.
Yes.
And
yeah.
there's still a mystery about his wound, about the whole Frostmourne wound and what happened to him, and it just, the connection between that and them forging a new blade that by all indications to me, seems like it was forged out of Varian's weapon, which was then Anduin's weapon. There's something there has to be a connection there. Like, I would be very disappointed if there wasn't some kind of connection there, or some kind of thing there, because it just, I don't know. I know we play a little conspiracy theory on here, but to me that seems like a pretty strong one. And I don't know them to leave too many threads unanswered. And one of them being, remember Ogmot's dream journal?
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yes. Okay.
There was an entry in that journal. Let's bring it back to the present day and read it here. It says, "Dat blade has shiny eye, always watching us. Why you no see it?" I think we always thought, or it was predominantly thought, that was the big sword in Silithus, right?
Right, yeah.
What if that was Charlemagne? 3 lies. The first one been told. What could that have been? Well, if you look at something that Il'gynoth had said, remember that? The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you. So we have some kind of connection there. Bound by that throne, says Ogmot's journal. No, free. Which throne? The frozen throne? The next gonna come soon. Maybe they see this one. Is it possible that all of this is to turn Anduin into the next Arthas? And make him another Lich King?
I don't know. I really hope not. I know there always has to be a Lich King, but Bolvar's still there.
Well, think about it. From what we've understood or come to understand about the nature of the Helm of Domination is that it was a tool of the Jailer. All this time, You know, it's a retcon. Okay, I'll buy into it. It was a tool of the jailer to try to control the Scourge and have all these machinations all over the place. And every single entity that became the Lich King failed the jailer. Well, what if instead of doing it from a distance, they did it right up close, right there in the mall? They created like a Frankenstein, their own Lich King to install and control all of this stuff. And it's Anduin. You imagine that shit?
Yeah, but why would they need a Lich King? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why would they need that? Because you've already got the jailer controlling all the forces in the mall.
Apparently, the Scourge are still running wild. It's an entire army, or it's like needing a right-hand person.
Right, but so if the Scourge is running wild in Azeroth, why would the jailer care about that at all?
It's a good question.
Because all that's going to do is produce more souls for the maw to begin with, because eventually the Scourge will get out of control.
Maybe Azeroth is just supposed to be like a big generator. The Scourge just goes around and just keeps filling them all full of souls, soul power, anima. Who knows?
But again, now, so here's something I just thought about. What if now at Shadowlands, we actually don't get more Shadowlands? What if the fight gets brought back to Azeroth and the focus gets put back on Azeroth at some point too? Because we're still dealing with, we still have the sword's still there. We had that neck we were dealing with in Battle for Azeroth. So, did we save Azeroth? Did we help Azeroth? Like, Magni, where are you? Like,
I think we closed the wound.
We need
that was it. Yeah.
We triaged it.
Yeah.
So it's still like the story's still out there. It's still, a thing that's it's like that's old hat. We're dealing with new stuff now. We don't care about it. It's like
somehow old becomes new again.
Yes.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
It
got me thinking, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do here. It's dangerous when we try to think on this show, but
we're still in the intro, folks.
That's right.
Hope we're not bored.
That's right. Yeah, I was looking back at that Ogmoth's Dream Journal and looking at that quote, and something again has always struck me about some of those passages, and that they can lay that stuff out several expansions ahead and kind of drop those hints.
Yeah.
But the fact that Charlemagne appears to have been corrupted, that to me that's a big deal, and the question is that retrievable in some way? And I'm gonna go, I know not everybody likes this, but maybe this is how we bring Varian back, and Varian's
oh my god, Varian's the talking sword.
Maybe Varian comes back and helps purify the Charlemagne. I don't know. That's the best I got.
He becomes the sword becomes the Matrix, like in the Transformers.
The Matrix of leadership.
The Matrix of leadership is Charlemagne, and the sword just talks all the time.
I love it. So yeah, it's starting to come into view. We're starting to get an idea of what is going on. Clearly, whatever it is they're doing with Anduin is not good, but I'm gonna say I got faith in my boy. I think he's gonna hold out. He's like Bolvar, right? He's gonna withstand the onslaught, and it may come at a great sacrifice, and that could be tricky. But we're gonna see, and hopefully we'll see you soon at BlizzCon Online here in just a couple weeks. Now, turning to something that we talk about here every quarter or so. Furious finances, Activision Blizzard finances. What's going on with them? Well, if you'll recall, some time ago when we started kind of doing this segment, we took a look at what was going on with Activision Blizzard because their stock was kind of bottoming out. They laid off a bunch of people, but yet they were paying their corporate folks pretty big bonuses, and wasn't looking real good at the time. But the indications seem to be is that over the long run, things were going to get better. And as we've seen, that continues to happen. And now with the GameStop stuff that's happened recently, I think people have kind of come to the understanding that the stock market is not the best indication of a company's health.
No.
It can be manipulated and often is in many circumstances. But if we're going off of stock price, if you recall, Blizzard stock price, when they let off all those folks and all that stuff happened a couple years ago, it was down to, 40, about $40 a share.
Yep.
As of right now, as we record, it is over $100 per share. $101.
To the moon.
$101.61. It shot up $9 just this past Friday
It's awesome.
on their earnings
So
report.
glad I have my one share of Blizzard.
I know. It's one of those things where, well, I did it for shits and giggles, but man, I should have done it for real.
You know what though? I will say this: that we listened to we listened to this podcast with Clark Howard, and he's a financial specialist, and he said, a smart way to invest is invest in stuff that you are actively interested in. So I'm happy that I actually bought the stock that I'm interested in. It's a slow, just that's. Yeah, I missed out on the GameStop thing, and that's great. I don't think I really wanted to have anything to do with that at this point because it's people are going to get investigated with that, and we don't want that type of heat. Anyway, so I think going forward, I'm gonna just start investing in more stuff that I'm interested in, and if I can get some more Activision stuff, I probably will. So it's
There you go.
if you have one, great. Invest in the stuff that you like.
I wish I'd invested in. I wish I'd invested in Nvidia like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh my God, yeah, I know. Right before the Bitcoin thing. Yes.
Now it's blown up. But yeah, so by all indications, stock market aside, Activision Blizzard is doing very well. Now that's both a blessing and a curse depending on who you are. I see people making kind of appropriate but dark jokes about, I guess now is the time for layoffs or something like that. And God, I really hope that's not what they do, because they keep talking about how they want to grow this and that. But kind of folding this in, we have heard about movement within Blizzard in terms of the teams, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But they did have their most recent Q4 2020 investor call. And in it, they talked about how, World of Warcraft continues to blow up. It's still very strong at this point in an expansion. It's stronger than it's ever been. Overall, the monthly active users for Activision Blizzard is it's up by 17 million over quarter. So people just continue to be engaged as a whole. With Blizzard, I think 2021 is still going to be somewhat of a quiet year, but 2022 is shaping up to be a fucking monster. Because if you look at the potential for Overwatch 2, possibly another Warcraft expansion, possibly Diablo 4, possibly a new game, God only knows what else, it could be big. It could be really big. And they've continued to raise their game. There's certainly some things going on over there in terms of their business practices which are very questionable. And unfortunately, that doesn't really seem to play in the marketplace, because after they made those layoffs, it's been a steady climb ever since. So we'll see. But overall, Blizzard is doing well, and Warcraft is doing well. We don't get the, I really wish we did get those subscriber numbers just to see, just out of curiosity, like, are we talking about 10 million? Are we talking about 5 million? Are we talking about 2 million? Like, hard to say, but with the kind of language that we use, it does seem to say that we're pretty high up there. My guess, just throwing a dart at the board, I'd say probably 8 million, maybe 7-8 million is probably where we're at. Which, if I recall, Wrath at 12 million was the height. So that was where we are. But they did talk about how Diablo Immortal, really positive feedback. We had all that blowback on that BlizzCon stage years ago, or don't you all have phones? And poor Wyatt Chang has got fucking eaten alive over that. But it seems to be a positive thing for them. So hopefully with the continuation of more mobile titles that seem to be coming in the pipeline, that could be good. So, but overall, looking at 2020, looking into 2021 and beyond, Activision Blizzard continues to be very strong. So those of us that are fans of Blizzard, let's hope that translates to good games and good releases and people taking the time that they need and not being forced to do things too quickly, which it sounds like happened with Warcraft 3 and the Reforged, and that's not good. So maybe with Shadowlands being so positively received, that gives them that room to push back and say, we need the time, because look what happens here. Look at Cyberpunk. Look at all the shit they caught.
Oh, I know.
Even after all the time it took, still releasing it definitely too early. I'm gonna say definitely too early. And all the shit that they got, and that game is gonna have to have a hell of a resurgence this year to shake off what happened with that. Shadowlands, well received across the board.
Yeah.
It took extra time. They made it right. So hopefully that's good. And I'm not giving you financial advice, but the stock is still looking pretty good. So
yeah,
I'll just say that. Tying into that, our last bit here is there is or was a studio by the name of Vicarious Visions, which is an Activision studio, that recently got absorbed into the Blizzard family. In this action, we also learned more about some of the internal goings-on over there at Blizzard and their team management and what people have been working on and potentially what they may work on in the future. But specifically to Vicarious Visions, this studio was known for producing the Tony Hawk skating games.
Yeah.
And I know you, Nav, know a lot about that.
Yes.
So give our listeners kind of a vibe on those games and your impressions and the kind of work that is put out by this group.
So they put out not only Tony Hawk Pro Skater, they put out the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So this group, if you're into sports games, heck, you know what? Even if you're not into sports games and you're looking for something that's fun to play, I totally recommend Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Just, right out of the gate, I can recommend it. It's a lot of fun. I actually bought it because my friend and listener of the show, Jer, picked it up, and he's like, I played it back in the day. It's super fun, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll pick it up, because what else was I gonna do? Because COVID, and I needed something to play because I wasn't running BFA stuff, and I had a lot of fun with it. With Activision acquiring them, it's good and it's bad, because one, they've picked up a East Coast gaming development company that can help them out with whatever they want to do, and I think it could also expand on the different titles that they're making games for. They didn't come up with Crash Bandicoot. They just remade the trilogy. So they take titles and they remaster them. They bring them up to date. So it's hopefully maybe they'll use this company and redo some of the stuff that they have, like Diablo or some of the other things, or maybe, like you said, we'll get a sleeper title, something we didn't know about, so I don't know. But I can say that this is the way business goes with video game stuff. If they find that they're lacking in an area, and they see that there's another company that kind of goes along with their idea, and they're able to, and it's a win-win for both companies merge. It happens. Look at Microsoft acquired Bungie for a little bit of time, and then they broke off and made 343 to take care of Halo, and then Bungie broke off from that. It's a cycle, so but
at least as far as your hands-on experience with their work, sounds like it's been positive.
It's been very positive. I thought that I didn't play the game originally. I picked it up for the Xbox One. I'm having it's a lot of fun. Like, it's a mindless game, and it's it really is. It's fun. It's got a lot of awesome music in it. First of all, secondly, like I don't skateboard at all. Like I'm 44 years old. I don't skateboard, and this game is. I happen to love skateboard games. Like I used to play Skate or Die all the time on the NES.
Oh yeah.
So on and so forth. And I loved SSX Tricky, which was a snowboard game. I like those action fast type games. And this one I picked up and I'm not disappointed with it at all. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It actually gets more and more fun when you figure out how to do all the tricks. And I made the mistake of trying to play with the joy pads on the controller. It actually works better with the crosshair, the old school plus, the old school D-pad. It works a lot better with that. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. And if you're looking, if that shows up, which it has a really good possibility of showing up on the Blizzard launcher, give it a shot. I mean, honestly, I'd probably pick it up for the PC and try to play it if it shows up on the Blizzard launcher. Like, I don't want to pick it up on Steam and just play it, but if it's something that's offered through Activision, and I might just pick it up there too. So I don't know.
There you
but
go.
Anyway, I'm happy with it.
So bringing on a good team sounds like, which is good. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You want good, talented people working on stuff that we love. In connection with this, there was also an article by Jason Schreier, formerly of Kotaku, now with Bloomberg, and I'm a bit on the fence with this guy because as much as I find sort of the dirt sheet nature of some of his articles to be wildly interesting, I don't know that he's always fair about his coverage. I think that there's been some times when he's either sensationalized something or covered something in a particular way where I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But regarding this, he did have some interesting news to share from people working at Blizzard. And one of them being is that while this Vicarious Visions group was being absorbed and brought into Blizzard, the way that Blizzard is, arranged is they have, Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4 working on various projects. Well, Team 1 has been dismantled.
Oh, okay.
This was the team that worked on StarCraft 2, StarCraft Remastered, Heroes of the Storm, and Warcraft 3 Reforged. The understanding is that the members of that team were given the opportunity to either interview for other jobs at Blizzard or move somewhere else. And it sounds like a lot of them ended up moving to some of these other new startups that we've heard about from other Blizzard people like
that's right.
Like Dreamhaven. And that explains why we've probably seen a fair number of these departures, as you mentioned earlier, is because an entire team there has been collapsed. Now, for me, it's very bad news for StarCraft because I know there's a whole lot of us that are hoping that someday something will come up and be like StarCraft 3 or StarCraft FPS or,
Ghost.
Something with, Ghost, shit, bring it back, something. I mean, heck, Call of Duty is going off like gangbusters. Just
I know.
slap some StarCraft shit on it and let it rip.
Yep, there you go.
They
Problem solved.
You don't have Destiny anymore. It's a space shooter. Come on. So that doesn't bode well. Heroes of the Storm. Blizzard said that they're committed to continuing to support these games and this and that. But if you have that team being dismantled, it doesn't look good for Heroes of the Storm either.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder that as time goes on, we've always thought of Blizzard as these core franchises. It was almost like the Holy Trinity for the longest time, right? Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft. Like, that was the core.
Yep.
And then you had, it bumped out a little bit. You had Overwatch, you had Heroes of the Storm. It was Blizzard All-Stars at first, then it became Heroes of the Storm. So then you kind of had this core group. Is that going to shrink? Is that going to reorient itself? Is StarCraft, Heroes of the Storm, are those going to get dropped? And then that's just now part of that. That's, Lost Vikings territory.
Yeah.
Could be. Because unless they announce something soon, I'm going to stop holding out hope. And I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. With the Vicarious Visions group, it sounds like they're going to be joining up with Team 4, which is the team that is working on Diablo and it sounds like a Diablo 2 remaster. So that is where your Diablo work might be coming from. But if you want to check that out, there is the article on Bloomberg. You can hear about this. Jason Schreier's Blizzard absorbs Activision Studio after dismantling classic games team. They also talk about how the Warcraft 3 Reforged rollout was not great and how it's the worst rated game Blizzard's ever put out, and what lessons they tried to learn from that. So it is interesting to get some of that information. So feel free to check it out, and I guess we'll see what's in store for us coming up here in just a couple short weeks. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Other than this fine program, where can the good people find you on the internet, Navox?
You can find me out on Twitter. I am at NAV_OX.
As for me, you can always find me on Twitter at BerserkerRage and this show at Unshackled_Fury. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise by going to unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Spotify, and Pandora. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high. And we'll see you next time. Farewell.